This is my Giant X Trance 29er. It was built in 2014 and was considered a trail bike at the time with a whole 120 millimeters of travel. I guess it doesn't compare to today's standards. It was a base system and it came with a RockShox Recon fork, a Monarch shock, and Shimano-based Dior drivetrain. Since I've had the bike for a while, I've made some upgrades over the years, including tubeless wheels from Bontrager, an ergon saddle, Shimano Saint brakes, and ice rotors. I've replaced the cassette and chain rings over the years, but now the derailleur is starting to fail. I guess it's time for a change. I have been lucky to try a few different bikes this past year, including the Pivot Firebird and Switchblade, as well as a Specialized Stump Jumper. The one thing all these bikes have in common is a 1x drivetrain. I guess the 2x drivetrains have gone the way of the Dodo. I really like the wide range of gears on these 1xs and not having to think about which chainring I need to be on. It's hard enough to pick a right line, why should I need to determine which chainring would pedal better? My plan was to get the SRAM Eagle NX since it was compatible with my current wheel set. However, my wife found an XT 11-speed group set being sold in a local auction here in Phoenix. It comes with a medium cage rear derailleur, a shifter, 11 to 42 cassette, crankset, a 32-tooth chainring, and chain. To my surprise, we won the auction and only paid $120. Even though this group set is from last year, it still retails for $489. Since this is a Shimano system, installing the upgrades went pretty smoothly. My bottom bracket didn't need to be replaced and I can also use my current wheel set. To get some perspective of the weight loss, I weighed the bike before the upgrades and it came in at 32.5 pounds. First step is to remove the old crankset, then detach the front derailleur and remove the front shifter lever. The bike is feeling lighter already. Next, detach the shifter cable from the rear derailleur and unbolt it from the hanger. I swiped out the shifter and led the new cable through the old housing. I went ahead and used my old housing since it was internally routed in the frame. After installing the new cassette on the wheel, I put on the new crankset, sized the chain, and made the adjustments using the limit screws and fine-tuning with the barrel adjuster. By the way, if you want to learn more about upgrading drivetrains, check out our 1x9 upgrade video. Hit the subscribe button, and if you like this story, hit the bell to be alerted on our latest videos. Let's see the new weight without the front derailleur and the lighter XT components. 30.88. This bike is almost 2 pounds lighter. That's amazing. Let's go for a ride. Oh, so far the shifting's working. No way I'm making it up that. Almost made it. It has been a struggle. I could barely climb up this hill that I was easily able to do with my 2x10. I really have to push to get up the mountain, and it just, at my age, it's very, very tough to do. Okay, time to stop watching these frustrating clips and let me explain what's happening here. This is a spreadsheet of my old gear ratios on my Dior 2x10 drivetrain. As you can tell from the chart, 2x systems will always have a wider range than a 1x. However, the majority of the time, I use the 24-tooth chainring in the 5 largest cassette sprockets. Basically, I live in that 1.14 to 0.67 range. The only time I would use the larger chainring was traversing an arroyo or wash, using the higher gear on the down and dropping to the smaller chainring on the short climb. When going downhill, I rarely pedal. If the grade is long and low, like at -2%, I may find myself close to a 2.0 gear ratio. Now let's take a look at the new drivetrain gear ratios. With the 32-tooth chainring, it pretty much splits the 2x10. When going downhill or on the flats, everything felt really good. Cruising around in the 1.8 to 1.3 range was great, but I felt I had no climbing range, which is really what I need the most. The majority of gear ratios are covered with the new system. However, the lowest gear, 0.76, is like my old second, which doesn't work well for me on those steep climbs. I'm a rider who enjoys sticking to the lowest gears on any extended climb. So how do I solve this problem? To get a wider range of lower gears, I need to decrease the size of my chainring and increase the size of the sprockets on the cassette. Moving from a 32-tooth chainring to a 28 will be my first step. Shimano doesn't offer a 28-tooth chainring, but I found one from Wolf-Tooth Components that is compatible with the XT 8000 crankset. The Shimano XT 1x11 series does offer an alternative cassette with 11 to 46 versus my 11 to 42. However, they just replaced the 42 with a 46, which leaves a pretty clunky gap to the second gear at 37. Also, it doesn't provide any additional low gears for climbing range, which I desire. Luckily, OneUp Components offers a 47-tooth sprocket that can be added to the base of the cassette. It also provides an 18-tooth sprocket to replace the 17 and 19 sprockets, and with the existing 42, it keeps the gear transition smooth. Installing went pretty smoothly, and the components appear to be well built. Now I have that wider range of low gears I prefer. As you can tell, this provides me a nice range of gears to climb. With the original setup, I only had one good climbing gear. Now I have three, going from 0.76 to 0.60. If I had the SRAM NX Eagle system, it would offer a lower alternative gear at 0.56, but this is pretty close. I'm having a much easier time climbing with the new gear ratios. I really like having an option to climb in the third gear and shift to the second or first if needed. The transition from 42 to 47 is smooth. The only downside of the drivetrain is changing gears going up a steep climb. It is not as smooth as the SRAM NX Eagle I used when I test rode the Specialized Stumpy. I will just need to change my timing when I approach a steep incline. In total, I spent $120 for the XT group set, $90 for the sprockets, and $60 for the chainring for a total of $270. Much cheaper than the Eagle NX at around $400 or the latest Shimano XT 1x12 at $600. I was lucky with the auction, but I'm sure there are some good deals out there from retailers who want to get rid of their stock. Thanks for watching, and keep on pedaling.